Another question here coming from Sally out of Wilmington. Why are interest rates adjusting so frequently? Sally, what a fantastic question. Sally, I'm just making notes. Sally asks good questions is what I wrote down just now. Why are interest rates adjusting so frequently? So inflation is occurring in the country, right? That's old news at this point. What that means is the cost of goods are rising at such a rapid rate, and so what the Federal Reserve, the I guess I'll call them the organization that controls the supply of money within our country, they have particular tools, right? Like it's like we talked about with Zach. There's tools for a municipality in taxes to generate revenues, mostly within sales tax and property taxes. So the Fed can control interest rates as part of allowing dollars to continue to be in circulation or also to bring dollars out of circulation. So when the Federal Reserve raise interest rates, there is a corresponding effect to that because people who borrow money from the Fed, that's the banks. The banks borrow money from the Federal Reserve. So when the cost of for them to borrow money gets more expensive, they want to make money on that money they're borrowing. So for instance, if let's say the Federal Reserve rate was 2.5%, right? So for every $100, you have to pay back an additional $2.50 to borrow that money. Well, they're not going to do it at cost. Banks aren't going to do it at cost. They want to make money for their shareholders, for the people who are investing in their business. That could be account owners, depending on the type of bank. So they are going to offer money out to their consumers or people that they lend money to, borrowers, at a higher interest rate. So let's say that the bank borrows it at 2.5%. The bank may lend it out at, let's say, 4, 5, 6%, right? Because they're going to make money on that difference in addition to what they have to pay back. So at a time right now when interest rates are going up and down, mostly up right now, you're seeing a substantial change in interest rates related to mortgages. There are a couple other factors. If you really want to dive into it, another consideration would become the 10-year Treasury bond yields. That's another metric that people use to determine, or banks will use to determine what to charge for interest rates. We had a great discussion previously about different type of assets and the risks that are associated with them. Now, real estate traditionally for primary residence being a low risk asset for people that borrow against it because you have to have a place to live. So a primary residence, right? And if you think about your daily life, you want to be able to stay in your home. You want to keep your family in your home. So mentally, right, you're going to make sure you pay that bill likely over other bills that you have. So it being a less risky asset, the interest rate tends to be a little bit closer to what the borrowing interest rate is for banks. So if you look at the 10-year Treasury yield and say, okay, I can get, if I lend money to the Federal Reserve, which you can do, or to the Treasury, I can buy bonds to pay for the government spending. Let's say that's paying out 4%. Well, if I could give money to that to make money at 4%, well, that's the Treasury, right? The Treasury, if the government defaults, right, everyone else has already defaulted from a risk category. So if I can make 4% from the government guaranteeing my money, I'm definitely going to charge anybody else a higher rate. So that's another way you can look at it. So the Federal Reserve rate, also the 10-year Treasury bond, if you want to get into some technical specifics about interest rates. Excellent question again, though, Sally. I really appreciate that.